The Hustleshare podcast is sponsored by One CFO, the Philippines' leading fractional CFO services provider for startups, scale-ups, and SMEs. Experience the power of tech-enabled, efficient, affordable, and expert-led fractional CFO services. Let One CFO handle your finances so you can focus on growing your business. Book your free CFO consultation today.
This episode of Hustleshare is brought to you by PLDT Enterprise, your partner that remains committed to your success. If you're loving stories of growth and grit, don't miss ROI to Success, a series powered by PLDT Enterprise that dives into real digital transformation journeys of Filipino businesses, from MSMEs to industry giants. Listen to the latest episodes and learn how PLDT Enterprise can power your business too. Visit pldtenterprise.com to explore solutions built for your success.
So during pandemic, we were very lucky that our company was not part of those that was shut down or restricted. So we were considered as an essential company. However, in order to protect our employees, because everybody was really scared, we majority of the time we were working from home. And of course, in order to have the communication and coordination continues, because even if most of the admin people are working from home, there are still people who are working on site to do the processing, the production process.
Welcome to Hustleshare, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Beityong.
Welcome to today's episode of the Share Podcast. Super exciting because now we're going nationwide again. It's always a special episode when we get to talk about entrepreneurs and enterprises held out and supported by our super amazing sponsor, PLDT Enterprise. In this episode, that's again part of the ROI to Success series within Hustleshare. So again, big shout out to the PLDT Enterprise team. But again, when we were talking about the PLDT Enterprise stories, we're talking about amazing businesses that are thriving within the country, that are able to leverage their platform. But without further ado, let's welcome to the show Miss Kareen Lacorte and Gerard Deriada of Agri Exim. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah,
Again,
thank you.
Super excited because, again, agriculture is life. I always believe that the biggest startups and the biggest needle movers in the country will always revolve around our proficiency to do agriculture. But before I get carried away, I need to ask you guys the $1 million question. Guys, what's your hustle? Sir JG?
Yeah, so welcome and thank you for inviting us to Hustleshare. We are from Agri Exim Global Philippines, and I am the Materials Management Manager of Agri Exim. And along with me is our HR Manager, Miss Kareen. Please.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting us and giving us this platform to actually talk about relevant matters about our company. So I'm Kareen again. I am the lead business HR of Agri Exim. I've been in the company for almost 7 years now.
Wow.
But prior to joining Agri Exim, I've been into different industries, like hospitality, academia, and also in manufacturing. So and then Agri Exim actually is where my career as an HR manager thrived. So I'm proud
That's
to be
amazing.
part of the company. Yeah.
All right, now then that's what I want to zero in. For those people who still don't understand what Agri Exim is, Sir GJ, what is Agri Exim and what do you guys do technically?
So Agri Exim is a part of a bigger group called Suminter Group, and we are focusing on promoting organic and sustainable agricultural practices.
Got it.
And then we help our partners, suppliers, or farmers to get connected to our business partners nationwide. Not just nationwide, but all over the globe. So.
All right, sounds good. And again, before we even talk about the amazing current journey of Agri Exim and how that you guys are changing the game, I need you guys to buckle up because you guys are obviously part of Agri Exim now. But before we even talk about what you guys do now, we need to dissect your origin stories respectively, and also obviously talk about the origin story of Agri Exim itself. But before that, we need you to buckle up because we're going to have to ride the Hustleshare time machine. All right. And that's what we're going to be talking about. So before we even talk about, just talking about it briefly, I want to start with Miss Kareen. You mentioned you've been here, the youngest, because Sir GJ's been here since 1901 daw. Is it correct? No? Grabe, Sir GJ.
Ancient.
Grabe.
You look like you don't.
Hindi naman halata.
Ancient na, ancient.
Just kidding. I want to understand, Miss Kareen, before you joined Agri Exim, and you're obviously in HR, what was the first few hustles you remember, and what were the first few jobs you remember doing that helped you pave the way to get here?
Yeah, so I actually started from the bottom. Yeah, so I started. I came. Basically, I joined HR career by accident.
Oh.
So a classmate of mine recommended me for an HR assistant position. Then I climbed my way up from there. So I started. I started working in General Santos City in a food manufacturing.
Yep.
And then I moved to Davao City. I joined a hospitality industry.
Okay.
And then I joined also academe and then port services. So I've been around. I've been in HR for more than 18 years now.
Wow.
And and then Agri Exim actually was the first company who has offered me a more comprehensive career in HR, handling a managerial role.
Mhm.
So,
Now, obviously, being given that that role or that responsibility is not given; it's earned, right? And I want to understand through all these stops that you had to go through, especially in HR, it's one of the most, if not the most important thing because everybody deals with people. If you're gonna have a successful company, you're gonna have to have a great HR.
true.
And I'll say it here in my current startup. I've been doing it in the year 6. On our very first, probably 2 to 3 years, our biggest struggles was when it's founder led and you have not gotten the HR that would set the tone for everything, create a system. My God, it felt like Wild Wild West. But I want to understand before you even get to the current version here, in your first few jobs, what are the skills that you remember acquiring that really helped you prepare for this? Because it doesn't happen overnight.
That's true.
You guys basically inherit all the drama of every business that you get into. So what were those skills you remember developing along the way through those first few jobs that you remember doing?
Yeah, I think for me, the most important skills that I have acquired actually is the ability to self learn. So because when I was younger, no, there was scarcity of mentors. Now people are unwilling actually or not able to share their knowledge and experiences with younger ones like myself back then. So I had to learn it all by myself. And fortunately, basically being able to self-learn, it helped me a lot. It developed my creativity. It developed my resourcefulness as well. And then basically that became my foundation. So when I even handled the HR manager position in Agri Exim, I only had 1 year of exposure in a managerial capacity. But maybe because I've learned the importance of learning on your own and not depending on other people to learn something. So I think it helped. And I think probably for over the years of my experience, I developed that grit as well and resiliency, which I think is very, very essential if for you to thrive in any career, not only in each. Yeah.
Totally amazing, and that's a That's a gift that keeps on giving. Ayan. Because
Yeah.
if you know how to learn on your own, you won't be dependent on, "Uy, please train me." Because majority of the
Totoo.
stuff, you need to be able to learn it when the books do not even exist, especially now in the age of AI, right? It's so much easier now to do that. But one last question before we turn to Sir GJ, right? And this is where I admire so many of the best HR thing HR people, because again, you're everything else in between. You're guidance counselor, you're principal, you're you can be
Police.
the police in
And the
everything that
number one Marites.
ayan,
Ah,
okay, and you take that home. But I want to understand how you develop your EQ, your emotional resiliency, because I remember as a first time founder, and I still care about it a lot.
mm,
Pero when I was playing the HR role, my God, I brought it home. And there are days na, why do I know this and now I don't have to deal with it, because you care about every single employee that you have, diba?
correct.
So whether it's a minor thing or a major thing, but at scale, you bring that home. And I'm a founder. And imagine if you're gonna be the the again the police, the HR, and everything else in between. It's inevitable. You're gonna bring this home. How did you develop that emotional maturity and grit to take
Mm.
to compartmentalize the crazy stuff that happens in a startup, especially before you even came to Agri Exim?
Mhm. So first, I would like to talk about developing empathy as an HR.
Mm,
So that's a very important value or attribute of an HR person,
yeah.
to be able to empathize with your co-employees. But then you also have to be able to set boundaries for yourself, so you will not be bringing home whatever emotional baggage that you have gathered or collect when you are in the workplace. So
Mm,
I think it takes practice. Actually, it took a lot of years for me to be able to detach myself from the complicated emotional aspect while working in HR.
yeah.
So it took years. It took practice actually, but you
Mm,
will basically develop that over time. And
mm,
probably because HR, if someone is asking or requiring counsel from HR, no one is also counseling HR. So,
Yun nga. Oh, you
well,
go to the
wala,
founder, "Sir,
yeah,
ang gulo nila. What do I
uh,
do?" Okay. Or you
correct,
go to Sir GJ. "Sir
correct.
GJ, yung sales mo magulo."
Oh yeah. Oo. So you are on your own basically. Of course, that's not 100% true, but
Right.
generally speaking, you are on your own kung HR kasi you have to be able to self pep talk. You talk to yourself and remind yourself that you have to protect your own your emotions as well, and not
Mm.
be affected by the negativity of whatever you are exposed to in the workplace.
Totally agree. I love it. And again, they're AgriXim. I now understand why they're doing so well. Because if you're at the helm taking care of every single one and you've already reached this maturity at this level, it's no wonder they're thriving. Okay. I will tell you my problems later also during the break, huh? Just kidding. I will take
But it's
advantage of
yeah. Pero
okay.
hindi pa rin siya easy
I
It's
will make
still yeah.
I will utilize you as the HR. Okay. Just kidding. Okay, now let's go to Sir GJ or Sir Gerard. Again, Sir Gerard is obviously the current materials manager of Agri Exim. But before you were in Agri Exim, were you also in HR? What was the backstory of your journey? And I want to understand the skills that you've acquired prior to joining Agri Exim. Because you've been here longer. 1901 nga, di ba? During 1902, what was it like? Just kidding.
Uh, thank you for that. I don't know if I should thank you for that, but
Just kidding
uh,
lang. Joke lang, joke
oh,
lang.
nga, just
Okay. Mm.
but anyway, actually, before joining AgriExim, I've been through different industries.
Mm.
I have been with the banking industry, and then next
Mm.
to going through logistics, and
Mm.
then through manufacturing, and then finally, when because I was also because I studied in Manila actually, so uh, when I came back here in Davao, that's when I joined with the coconut manufacturing industry. first with a different company and then eventually to Agri Exim Global
Got it.
Philippines.
But okay, through this, you obviously have been around, and these are all key industries that we've been through. I believe that every single one, every single leader, before they're even given the opportunity to thrive, has built superpowers. GJ, what do you think would be those superpowers that you've developed throughout the years?
Well, I would say because my background or the work that I've been exposed in was more really into like management stuff because when I started even with the banking industry, I was already hired then as the assistant to the president also, and
Wow.
which is then when I transferred, it's also in those kind of areas. So when Agri Exim hired me, that's also as assistant again to the CEO. So that is when I really got to know stuff because unlike the other industries that I've been in that were already, we could say, those were
Established.
already established, yes. But with Agri Exim, they just started here in the Philippines
Nice.
when I started. So I've seen the company grow, and I've handled different areas as well, not just uh, like for example, if Miss Kareen is the HR now, before I am also handling the HR.
He was
With
the one who
Agri
hired
Hala.
me actually.
Wow, amazing. He fired himself to hire you. There you go. All right. Because that Marites daw was too much. It's like, I'm gonna hire Karin. Ikaw na bahala
Yeah,
dyan.
hindi ko
Let's
kaya
just kidding.
yung ganong empathy.
You bring it home. No, just kidding. Okay, but this is amazing. I love how you guys are foundational pieces of Agri Exim. But this is a question for both of you, right? You saw that there are other opportunities that are out there, but you guys are key parts of how this would work. But what was it with the leadership team or the founders of this company that made you choose this, that made you say that, all right, I can contribute really heavily here? Because there's other opportunities. You've been around now, you've seen other companies. And there are more companies that would have probably been a better option also. But why Agri XM? What made you really want to contribute here? Because I think the founders or whoever the leaders are a big catalyst to that. So GJ.
Yeah, so Agri Exim is a part of a bigger group, Samhita Group. They are focusing on organic and sustainable manufacturing practices. So that is what kept me here because I think with that in mind, it really goes into focusing your efforts into lifting up also the your partners in the supply chain, not only
Yeah.
the company, because you want it to be sustainable. So you have to develop those stakeholders, whether internal and external stakeholders you have.
Yeah. Technically, hilaan pataas. Because typically, majority of the time, it's hilaan pababa. Right? That's what people do. But hilaan pataas. But I'd like to get an HR answer. Ayan. So, obviously, as an HR, you're right at the middle. You have access to management. You have access to everybody else. But what's with the leaders and the management of Agri Exim that makes you really want to contribute and really help here and even do interviews like this in their behalf? Okay,
Yeah.
what's special about the leadership of Agri Exim?
I think probably it's their vision. So I really believe in their vision. It's very selfless, basically. So I understand it's business, right? But sabi nyo nga, hilaan pataas. So aside from, working with farmers, um, basically earn more. And then we are also helping the community. So if you must know, we have already generated over 1,000 employment.
Wow.
In just less than 10 years
How
that
do you
we've
sleep
worked.
with 1,000 employees?
We don't. We don't.
That's why you look puyat pala. Okay, just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, so I think
Wow.
that's the top reason why it's my pride to be associated with Agrexim. The management is very aggressive also. They are fearless. So and then in the 10 years of our journey we have encountered a lot of ups and downs, but we always come up the winner. So I think
Yeah.
so we have so many victories, even in the midst of the impossible situation.
Yeah.
So we're able to overcome it. So I think that's the characteristic of our management, that I feel like I can ride with the waves with this management.
Galing. That's amazing. And again, it just goes to show why you guys are incredible leaders in such a big company. Again, so those people, if you're here by now, you don't know that Agri Exim is a big company. Now you know. But before we even discuss how they got to 1,000, we're gonna have to take our quick break, and we will discuss. Of course, we'll talk about the general consensus. How was Agri Exim able to get here? How it evolved, and of course, how are they able to help out at scale? Because if you're a small operation, you won't even have 1,000 employees. And what can people learn from how you guys do business? But let's talk about that more after the break.
Hey hustlers, ever feel like your money's flowing in, but your profits are nowhere to be seen? Is managing your cash a constant source of stress, leaving you anxious about day-to-day operations? Or maybe you're holding back on growth because you're unsure if your finances are really stable. The real problem? You don't have a clear picture of your finances. Without a strategic financial partner, you're basically operating in the dark, always one step away from hidden pitfalls. But what if you had a seasoned fractional CFO who understands these challenges and gives you clear and straightforward steps to increase profits and grow steadily without the cost of a full-time CFO? That's what One CFO delivers. One CFO combines the strategic thinking of experienced CFOs with their own cutting-edge CFO tech platform, giving you transparent, real-time insights that empower you to make smart moves. They're the go-to fractional CFO partner for growing companies like Quick Insure, Avion School, J Labs, Advance, One Lot, Colorette, and Stash, helping them conquer financial challenges and achieve remarkable growth. Imagine having a crystal clear view of your financial performance and the confidence to execute bold, growth-driving strategies. Ready to level up? Click the link in the description or go to onecfoph.co. That's onecfoph.co right now to book your free no-obligation consultation. Gain clarity in your finances and grow your business with confidence. Click the link or visit onecfoph.co today. Hey guys, quick break to thank our sponsor PLDT Enterprise. We're all about growth here, and if you're serious about scaling your business, you need the right partner. PLDT Enterprise is committed to your success, offering fixed, wireless, and ICT solutions for businesses of every size. So if you're ready to transform, check out PLDTenterprise.com. That's PLDTenterprise.com to explore their digital solutions for your business today. And we're back from the break. We are still with Sir JG and Miss Kareen, who then told us the amazing backstory of how they were able to join Agri Exim. But before we even talked about, what they're doing now, just lighten up a bit. Let's go back to the time machine a little bit real quick and talk about the origin story of Agri Exim. Because before, you don't get to 1,000 employees if you don't know what the hell you're doing. I'm at 50 right now, and you know why I'm always kalbo? Because if I grew that out, I'd be plucking my hair out. I'd be going crazy. So that's the key. If you're a founder, be kalbo. You'll be safe. No, just kidding. But 1,000 employees requires systems, requires the greatest investments in whatever. You need PLDT Enterprise. Those are the things that you need. But before you even get to 1,000, what was the backstory and how did this even start? So GJ, you've been here now the longest, eh? Oh, yan. So tell us the history. We joke lang. If you see me, you might punch me like that. Don't. Okay. So what was the history of Agri Exim and how walk us through how we got here?
Yeah, so Agri Exim was founded on
2014.
2014. Sorry na.
Ano ba na?
By the Spanish.
Ayan,
just kidding.
So 2014, yes.
2014 lang. Bata pa.
Yeah, bata pa. So, actually, there were, as mentioned earlier, there were several ups and downs. So, the up started sometime 2016 na. So that's 2 years after that. Yeah.
Mm.
So we started renting out only a place in Davao City. It's a very small place. And then the number of employees then were just less than 10. So
Wow.
we really had to uh, do things on a multitask. Parang multitasking talaga lahat ng tao doon. So,
Okay.
even nga hindi ganun yung specialty ng isa, kinakover yung work na what is needed for the company to go. And then, eventually, since again, the owners themselves are really aggressive, so eventually it was decided that to find a new facility that can really be called our own.
Mm.
And then, medyo marami ring journeys doon sa paghahanap ng facility na yun.
Okay.
And then eventually, nakahanap sa may Davao del Sur, which is just nearby where we were recently renting out. And from there, it grew to what it is now, in which we're now, our direct employees are now 100 plus. And then if we include those that are in the production, so that would total up to 1,000 employees.
Wow. So okay. So I want to understand this before we even jump, because in Hustleshare we always talk about the rule of 3 and 10, where according to John D. Rockefeller, ayan, na if your company multiplies in number in multiples of threes and tens, things always break. I don't care how you think na, uy, okay na. And then boom, you get to 100. So usually it's 10 people, okay pa. You get to 30, multiply by 3, totally different thing. Because now there's multiple layers and whatnot. From 30, you get to 100, kagulos na naman. And then after 100, get to 300. So those things. I want to understand how this evolved, because you cannot sustain growth if you were not able to create the right systems and probably went through the right learnings as you multiplied across every step. So I'll ask you, let Sir GJ muna, because again, you've seen it from 10 heads. Easy to execute at 10 heads. Well, once you get to 100, that's when you need a proper Kareen, Miss Kareen, because good luck talaga what you're going to do. But I want to understand muna from the back, because this is what people don't understand. But people usually see from an outside looking in, uy, successful. Ang galing. That's it. They don't realize how the pain that you go through underneath it all to get to this level. And that's why you need great leaders like you. And more than that, great systems that adapt to the right skill set of the right people and everything else in between. Well, what were those like, Sir GJ?
So, jumping in from, actually, it did not jump from 10 to 100 immediately.
Dahan-dahan yan, pero
dahan-dahan yan.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So, there were several struggles along the way. First, of course, you have to establish your supply base. So, we started only with one product, focusing on one product,
which was VCO.
Virgin coconut oil.
Nice.
So the process was still very simple then. Then it was deliberated on, and then decided, okay, let's source out more and then increase it. So it became times 3, as you said. Then from there, when that came, we already had a new we developed that there was several capital expenditures to really put up the land and the facility for that. And when we have the facility, that's when we really needed more support people, kasi 10 heads or 20 heads would not be enough to run the facility.
Correct.
So doon na nagdahan na naghahanap ng mga specialization for each product line, for each area na kailangan to grow further.
Tama. And that's absolutely true, again, because at the end of the day, despite how good your people are and whatnot, you need to make the right investments. And I think PLDT Enterprise was really a big catalyst here, because especially if you're 0 to 100, if you had the wrong partner and you didn't have the right infra, good luck to you. But I want to understand, Sir JG, how did PLDT Enterprise really help you scale this fast, efficiently?
Yeah, so Agri Exim's workflow efficiency increased and improved across operations with the aid of PLDT Enterprise digital solutions. Uh, we can say that because without the proper connection, without the support of PLDT with that, we will not be able to reach out to our clients and even to our main company or group, which is Suminter, which is based in India.
Yeah.
And since we are an export-based company, so that connectivity would really helps us to uh, improve our operational process.
That's amazing. And again, I now understand how you're able to get that done. But I'll shift to the HR side. Because at the end of the day, okay, when companies grow, typically what happens like, okay, we're at 30 packs at month one. Next thing you know, after 3 months, uy, how the hell are we 60 now? We didn't even notice every week you're onboarding someone. But I want to understand how you even got the right people at the right time. Because one thing that a lot of startups don't understand, especially if you're a scale up, they call it scale up. Now, it's easy to hire a bunch of random people, but if they're not a fit, in the end, you just scaled not the solution, you scaled the problem. From an HR point of view, because considering the demand, you're obviously not going to grow if there wasn't demand, right, Kareen? So I want to understand, how did you tailor fit with the right investment like PLDT Enterprise, the right people naman that would be fit for what you were trying to achieve as the company grew?
Yeah, so basically, when we transferred here in our current location right now, we really had difficulty connecting with our candidates or potential team
Oh.
members, team members. So, in fact, there was an instance where we had to go out in the highway. Correct, Sir DJ, if you remember, because there was no signal at all in our
Nako.
location. Yeah, so
Okay.
it made hiring very difficult for us. So
Yeah.
especially in this day and age where people are, very mobile fixed, meaning they're on their phone most of the time. So we need to really be able to connect with them directly, and for wider reach, basically.
Right.
So PLDT actually helped us in doing that. So we were able to access social media. We were able to post our vacancies in different job sites and even social through the help of PLDT also.
Imagine you doing interview in the highway because you don't have a
That's true. And especially now when face-to-face interview is becoming less and less
correct.
required. So it's more on virtual na. So even the candidates are located in a faraway place, we can already conduct interviews. And we need a very strong, connectivity connection for that one, for that to be effective. And then with the help also of the digital solutions that's offered to us, we were able to also do research about the market trends in HR. How are we going to attract more candidates? How are we going to improve our employer branding and to be able to communicate that to a wider community or a wider group of people. So yeah, I think that's how it was for us.
Yeah, because you need to. It's not just now. It's no longer just showing that, hey, we have a vacancy. You kind of have to give a glimpse of your company's culture. Do you permit budots on the floor or whatnot?
Correct.
Because that's part of it. TikTok's part of it. You can't
Correct.
stop tell people, oh, you can't TikTok. They will TikTok. It's not a
Yeah.
matter of when.
Correct.
It's if it's a matter of when. So these are
Correct.
the things you need to be able to communicate well. But I want to zero in on one instance before we take our last break. Because if you guys did the right investment very early on, it would have set you really, really ready for the great equalizer, which was the pandemic. I want to understand, Ms. Kareen and Sir Gerard, since you made the right investment, how were you able to navigate the pandemic and how were you able to then come out back into the normalcy that we have now with the right investment, obviously with PLDT Enterprise?
So during pandemic, we were very lucky that our company was not part of those that was shut down or restricted. So we were considered as an essential company. However, in order to protect our employees, because everybody was really scared,
Yeah.
we majority of the time we were working from home. And of course, in order to have the communication and coordination continues, because even if most of the admin people are working from home, there are still people who are working on site to do the processing, the production process.
Right.
So with the investment that we had with PLDT, it made our life more comfortable and safer, because even in the comforts of our homes, we were able to still work. We did not lose our income as well because of that opportunity.
Mhm. That's amazing. Sir GJ, how were you guys able to capitalize, man, right after the pandemic? You were lucky. You weren't shut down. Everybody else was like, "Ala, work from home," right? But during the pandemic, things were obviously different. You were a step ahead of the curve because you had PLDT Enterprise. But as the world started to open up, how did you navigate through that, and how did you take advantage when the timing was right to crank it up a little bit more?
Sure. Before I answer that question, I just would also like to add on to the pandemic thing.
Yes.
It's one thing that we appreciate as well with Agri Exim, that even during the pandemic, uh, everyone was still intact. I mean, they still continued hiring people
Yeah.
and doing the operations, as opposed to some other industries that we've heard on that have
Yeah.
really
Had no choice but
stepped
to do
down.
layoffs, right?
Yeah, layoffs. So instead of laying off, we're still expanding further. So
Nice.
that's one thing that we really appreciate on that.
Mhm.
That's how resilient our.
Galing.
Then after that, so aside from that connection,
Mm.
one thing that really helps related to the digital side with PLDT is we implemented our ERP system, which is the
Oh.
SAP. The SAP is it really needs like real time updating of your reports, of your systems, of everything that's going on in the plant. If there's something that's coming in, you enter it into the system. If it goes out of the plant, you have to put it in the system as well. So we really need that connection, and it really helped us to finally implement that, because it has been a previous plan of a dream before by our investors and owners to implement that, but we were not able to because we didn't have a good connection. But with the help of PLDT, we were able to do that, and it did help in really streamlining the process and giving a timely, more real time feedback to our group company and also to our clients international.
Absolutely, because that's the lifeblood. How can you even do comms? How can HR engage employees? How are you going to be able to talk to clients? And how are you going to be even able to talk to each other without the right infra? So, really good call. Now it makes sense why you guys are doing so well. Now let's take our last break, and when we come back, we will now talk about obviously what's next for Agri Exim. What's exciting? What's going to be if you're at 1,000 now? Maybe when we release this, you're at 500,000 na, diba? All these things. But again, of course, just kidding. I want to understand what's next. And of course, I want to ask you the advice that you'd like to give for those people who are also able to capitalize on the right company. Because you don't have to be a founder to thrive in Hustleshare. You can be a key team member, because success is a team sport. But let's talk about that more after the break.
Hey, hustlers, before we resume the episode, let me tell you a very quick secret. Do you guys ever wonder how we're able to consistently release episode after episode here in Hustleshare without missing a date over the past 3 years? Well, it's not just pure hustle, because I'm also running my podcast, along with me running my startup full time. Now, for some of you who have listened to this podcast, you guys very well know that I created a startup that is designed to help the best podcasters in Southeast Asia to realize their full potential, which is called Podcast Network Asia. And over the past couple of years, we've achieved quite a lot in P&A, helping hundreds of podcasters create world-class episodes consistently. However, what we realize is that we are not really solving the real problem of all podcasters in the world if we're not going to productize the thing that we're very good at, which is helping podcasters solve the two main pain points of a podcaster, which is number one, nobody really likes to edit their own show, especially if you're listening to your own voice. Just like me, I cringe a lot. Having to listen to my voice for 3 to 4 hours just to release a 1-hour episode. It's no fun. And then the other thing is that most podcasters, just like me, are absolutely clueless on how to properly grow their show, which is something that we have perfected in Podcast Network Asia. So we've decided to put this all in one product that helps any podcaster in the world create world-class shows that people will love and will continuously grow. And that's why we created Pod Machine. Pod Machine is the most affordable podcast subscription service that helps you with your podcasting needs. We've got everything from audio production, crafting designs, and marketing and growth support. So as a podcaster, you can now just focus on the thing that matters the most, creating great content for your listeners. So if you are an existing podcaster or someone that actually wants to create their podcast now, no need to worry. You got a founder's discount by listening here on Hustleshare. So sign up now at podmachine.com. And aside from the free trial that you're going to get as a new user, I'm throwing in another one free edit as soon as you sign up for just as low as $49.99 USD a month to start creating a consistent and world-class podcast. Again, that's podmachine.com and use the code Hustleshare to get your founder discount. So if you have friends that are podcasters and if you want to have a podcast just like this, y'all know what to do. So just go and talk to you guys in Pod Machine.
And we're back from the break. We are still with Kareen and Sir JG. Who then told us the amazing right bet. Because as businesses talaga, if you are able to really capitalize on the right investment early, you don't have to go through the pain that everybody else has to go through. But again, there are pains that you're going to have to go through regardless. And that's what I want to now zero in. Because, of course, it's not all, you didn't get it right all along. I want to ask to Miss Kareen here. What are those things that you remember that were so painful growing the business, say, from 10 heads to 100 heads to 1,000 that you go through? And that even if we had the right investment, well, it's inevitable you're going to have to go through this. And how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I think one of the top challenges that we have encountered in the past years is the scarcity of skilled workers.
Yeah.
So if you must know, our operation is labor intensive.
Yeah.
We do have an option to buy labor saving device, but because of the management's desire to contribute to the employment in the community, we opted to still keep our current technology in order to still employ more people.
Wow.
But but we have targets, right? We have volumes to achieve, so we need people who are skilled. So that's the biggest challenge that we have actually encountered. So in order to solve that, aside from utilizing social media in order to invite workers not only in Davao region but also from other region to apply to Agri Exim, we did visit several regions. We visited in Davao del Norte, Davao de Oro, in order to, because there's a lot of unemployed people there, out of school youth. So basically, the composition of our population now is hindi naman siguro multicultural, ano, but galing sa iba-ibang regions. So we have a lot of a big chunk of our population are Muslims, Lumad, and then of course the Bisaya, Ilonggo. So it's a fun environment to be in. But still, yeah, that's the challenge. It's actually a continuing challenge because as if you already realize there's a lot of opportunities around already. And one of our challenges, aside from hiring, finding skilled people, it's also our challenge is also retaining people. How to retain, yeah, di ba? Kasi,
Attrition, my God.
correct. Correct. Kasi it's not because Agri Exim is not it's not a good company. It's because there's a lot of opportunities around. It's a lot of alternatives. So yeah. But although that's the case, I feel like we're still able to, we're still able to manage it. And then we're still continuing to hire. We are able to still find good talents, and we are still able to attract. So even if people are leaving, there's also a lot of people entering. So yeah.
That is amazing. All right. I want to now understand, Sir GJ. Now, you have very ambitious goals. It starts obviously from the top, but you can't have an ambitious goal and ambitious founders or ambitious management if you don't have an ambitious or equally efficient middle management and an efficient workforce. How are you guys able to then maintain your pace and still achieve those aggressive targets? Because you mentioned aggression comes from the top and it's flows downwards. It can't be aggressive at the top, mid at the middle, and wale at the bottom. Dapat sabay-sabay, right? How are you able to make sure that you do that? And give me an example of those aggressive goals that you guys are trying to achieve, and how are you guys doing it right now?
So for me, I would really say it's really just teamwork and cooperation by everyone. You really have to work together to achieve that goal. That is why the reason also that we hired several people working on different specialties, so that each of the concerns that have that we have experienced along the way will be solved, or rather will have a different point of view from someone who has a different experience on that one. And then collectively we get the solution to improve and also to overcome the challenge that we have. So we just hope that we continue to do that and build a culture of really growing together.
All right, sounds very good. Now, last question before I let you go. What are the next steps that you guys are trying to achieve? Of course, 1,000. I'm pretty sure when we meet each other again, you'll be like, "Oh my God, Ron, you wouldn't believe it." If Miss Kareen is not sleeping anymore, wala na talaga. She will never sleep anymore. Just kidding. What's the ambitious goals that are you guys trying to achieve, and how will PLDT Enterprise help you achieve those goals very soon?
Yeah, for me, for HR point of view, aside from of course hiring more good talents to be able to add value to the company, Agri Exim is gearing towards sustainability. So we actually generated, for the past 3 years now, we have generated sustainability report. So we want to basically be a major player in that aspect. So we already started as well calculating our own GHG emissions, something like that. And then we have increased also our community relations, community affairs, community engagement. We have done that. So I think in the next probably 5 years, our primary focus would be to be relevant in the community in terms of ESG, environment, social, and governance. So that's where we are gearing. Not just of course, the continuing goal of the company to be able to add value to the community and help the community, but to help the environment as well in general.
That's amazing. Sir GJ, what do you have any inputs on that? Like what's next? I know you guys are hustling hard. You're in the materials section of this. So What else are you guys chasing?
Yeah, from my side, I just like to shift the attention from Agri Exim to our partner suppliers, which are the farmers themselves. We really want to improve, or rather uplift their living as well, and that is really what I think would be the strength of Agri Exim, because it's not just improving the company but also improving your whole supply chain. Again, Agri Exim would be there to bridge the gap between the farmers to our clients globally. So for me, the next step would be to really empower our uh, partner farmers and suppliers. And in fact, actually, right now we have an application that's being developed on a mobile phone, and we have our several field officers going through the farms, in which with that application, uh, we can somehow get
Fast.
frequent updates, fast updates, yeah, for like what will be their harvest period,
Wow.
when will they be delivering, will they be able to get more, or where really in the map is the farm. So it's all being digitalized already. So with the help again of PLDT, we were able to uh, achieve that digitalization that we wanted.
All right. That is amazing. Thank you so much again, Sir GJ and Miss Kareen. But before I let you go, invite people over. Of course, I'm going to let you guys take a stab at it. If they want to work in Agri Exim, where do they go and how do they do that? And if they also want to work with you and, be a farmer, be a supplier, be a whatever, where do they go and how do they do that? Miss Kareen, you go first.
Yeah, so we do actually have, because we have expansions. So we are looking for more talents. So we do post our vacancies in our LinkedIn accounts. We have our Facebook accounts at Agri Exim. So you just search in your search box Agri Exim, and you can find our logo there. And then yeah, so you can see all of our vacancies there. You can also reach out to us. We will, if we are allowed, we can share also the QR codes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they can just scan it, and then they'll be able to access our website and on our social media account, so to have more information about the company and how to reach us.
Yep. How about you, Sir GJ? Where if they want to work with you and collab with Agri Exim, where do they go and how did you do that?
Yes, I'm going for our partners here, our external stakeholders, especially our local farmers, as well as uh, businessmen as well, because we also have local products that we can
Provide.
have a collaboration with. So, as mentioned by Ms. Kareen, we do have several social media pages. I'm not sure if
we can put it on the show notes. You'll find it later. Ayan.
So just paano ba yun sa vlogger?
I'm not
Like
a
and
vlogger.
subscribe.
Buduts lang. Buduts. Ayan, there you go.
Uh,
But we definitely will take
there's
note of
the Facebook, Twitter, and I think LinkedIn. Tama ba, Ms.
LinkedIn,
Kareen?
yeah, LinkedIn also.
All
We
right.
have those pages.
Okay. Thank you so much again, Miss Kareen and Sir GJ. But before I let you go, follow us whatever podcast app you're listening to at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And if we did say some jargon like the QR code or the links, you don't have to search it up. If you're driving, whatever, wait lang. You don't have to go through that. It's going to be in the show notes on this episode on hustleshare.com. And if you also want to support Hustleshare and doing content like that, similar to PLDT Enterprise and all our sponsors, please do subscribe at premium.hustleshare.com. And again, thank you very much, GJ and Miss Kareen.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you, Sir
thank
Ron.
you.
All right, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.